I think at the moment everybody is benefiting. Everybody has a good day because the Americans, instead of going out to travel, they probably buy more game console because they need to stay at home. And in that case, it creates more export demand for Chinese products. And also, China's production supply chain has largely been intact throughout last year. So they can be really geared to satisfy this rising demand. So in general, I think exporters have a good day. But if you look at the industrial investment in China, despite the exporters have a good day, they are not really investing. Industrial investment, particularly in light industry, are pretty weak, which means that most people don't believe, the exporters don't believe the current export strength will carry on till into next year or the year next. Particularly when people start to be able to travel, then the service consumption will again replace the goods consumption. So for me, my take is that this is a short-term boost, but doesn't seem to have a really long-lasting effect on the Chinese economy. My personal view is that China probably really need to take a more relatively relaxed monetary policy attitude to boost the infrastructure consumption, as well as trying to create a more stable business environment such that various type of enterprises are willing to invest in real production basis again.
Sure. Vincent, also, where is the big investment opportunity under the Common Prosperity theme through that transition, you think?
Well, you could say at the moment, I think the Common Prosperity theme seems to be actually more negative on the market because, it seems that quite a lot of business model could be challenged in many ways. Looking ahead for a longer term, throughout the new economy space, which has been hit pretty hard this year, I think e-commerce at the end of the day probably will be the first one to come out of this trouble because they have relatively less issues that, with the exception of antitrust monopoly, e-commerce, generally speaking, don't really have too much negative connotation in that Common Prosperity theme. So I think over time that probably could be if you assume that the Common Prosperity theme really can bring prosperity to everybody, then everyone's consumption powers probably go up. And if that's the case, then e-commerce probably will be an area at some point people should go back into.